live from Trinidad and Tobago.
Welcome to Connections 50 Plus Wednesdays live show.
I am Terry Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph. Hi everyone, good evening. You're watching Connections 50 Plus Wednesdays live. And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph.
And I am Terry Ann Joseph Brathwaite. Nice to be here again.
Hey, so of course we welcome you. We welcome all in the Caribbean islands and Trinidad and Tobago. So this evening, we're going to be chatting with you about the 5.8G new normal. And Terry Ann, we said new normal because in Trinidad right now and Tobago, we are more or less opened up. You know, everyone back out to work. So it is now time for us to adjust to this new normal.
Yes, and I think more, especially for the Caribbean islands also, it's even more because many of them, excuse me, have to, because their economies are tourism based, they have to
yes.
up. And many of them over the next week will begin receiving international flights. And it is so important for them to have the tourists coming. Even I read a report that Virgin Atlantic would be coming into Tobago. They're pushing to get started, you know, so it's really an interesting time. How do we deal with the new normal at 5.8G?
I am sure there is a sense of anxiety too. So anxious to get back out there, anxious to be back out of work, to be socializing a bit. But there is still that fear. Would we have that second wave? Can we really keep COVID away? You know? And to do that, we just have to follow all the regulations of what they say, you know, the washing the hands, the wearing masks, etc., which will help remove some of the anxiety, you know, that we may go out there with thinking, okay, is this second wave really coming? So when we put that aside and put our minds at ease, knowing that we are all doing what we're supposed to do, then, Terry Ann, we're ready for this new normal?
Yeah. And you know, I always say, I look at the numbers, because sometimes when you look at the statistics, it's not going away. And it's another influenza, like every year we have a flu season. And as we said before, the danger or the problem is until we have a vaccine like we have for all the things we immunize children with. But the good thing is that most people, over 98% of the people, survive it. And it is, what can you do to increase your odds of surviving it? You know, that really would make the new normal less fearful or stressful time.
Yes.
And allow you to have fun in the new normal, or to continue life as you planned it for your 5.8G excitement. You know?
So let's talk 50 plus followers. What are you doing, you know, to make your life really happy, to enjoy, you know, being back out there again, those in the workplace or those who still working from home? And what we would like to chat about, Terry, this evening is looking at the different aspects of life, especially the areas that we at Connections 50 Plus focus on. So this evening, if we can focus and share with you, and we want you, of course, to tell us what you're doing outside there. How are you treating with these different areas of your life? And we want to look at the three main aspects. So we're going to look at the social aspect. we're going to look at the economic aspect. We're going to look at the self-care aspect. You know, chat to see if we could come up with some new ideas for the new normal, you know, and help you really continue on that 5.8G journey. You know, we back out now. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay?
We plan
So,
to come on the third act stage, so this new normal can't stop the fun.
no. Not, we out there, we moving forward. Yeah. So under the social, Terry-Ann, you know, with us, beaches are open. But yes, you know, we love to go by the beach, Caribbean people, all right? But yet still we have to be careful with the distancing, etc. We love a good line. And you know, a good line for us is a crowd. We want people, a lot of friends, food, drinks, etc. We love to socialize and move about, you know, just having fun. But we are told, you know, yes, go out there, have fun. You could go by the beach, do all the things you're accustomed doing, but yet still watch the numbers. Watch how close you're getting. The hugging and kissing, and you know, we love to hug up and dance.
Well,
You know, we greet with a big hug, etc. What can we really, or tell us what you're doing differently, or we can just chat, Terry-Ann, what can really be done
yeah.
with this new normal?
I think, you know, this weekend was Father's Day. And in our family, we launched our new normal. We launched new normal because we are a bunch of gatherers. I mean,
Yes.
our family, you bubble the pot, you bring out the drinks, and it is a lot of socializing. And this was something that we talked about. And one of the things that we are forgetting, or we need to consider, is that the familiar groups don't have to social distance. If your family, if your friends, you know, it's a bad example, but when we talk about the HIV epidemic, you know who's around you. So if we go back to church, families are in pews. So I think what is going to happen is that people who live together, who know each other, who are close, those people, the interaction is the same, because people who are in the same house, you know, who they've been exposed to, the concept of contact tracing. So even for myself, you know, I looked at even my sons, they're inviting friends over for the afternoon. And it's the same group of people that I've been looking at for the past 3 months. So all of them have gone through my mental quarantine.
Yes.
Now, if I lose track of you for the past 2 weeks, I'm kind of making sure my 6 feet in place because I don't know where you've been. But if you've been around me and I know you've been healthy, then we had a great rollicking time. So, you know, we made a big joke. Every family had to account for everyone else.
Yes.
And then when we realized, all right, everybody cool, we had a good time. Now, in lining, yes, we are together. If somebody who is strange comes in, I think there is reason for that person to wear your mask, please, and keep your mask on. But as we socialize as Caribbean people, for the start, it's going to be in our traditional familiar friend groups. You know, people who you know where they've been for the last 4 to 6 weeks, and you know if they've had a cold. And one of the things, Jennifer, I think it is important that we as responsible people, you know, they say the 3 rules. Wear your mask to prevent you from contaminating others. Sanitizing, wash the hands. And that, I mean, it was so funny. We were going to eat and everybody made this beeline to every single sink because everybody was washing their hands. You know, and then the whole issue of self-responsibility. If you know that you've started coughing, if you know you're not feeling well, you know, being socially responsible for your community. Just stay away. Just stay away. And I think we will be great in a social setting. I am not as worried where that's concerned. Once we get together with people that we are familiar with, and I don't know that except for Carnival, we really group with a whole lot of strangers at close contact.
Terry, and I found what you're saying there, for me, when I look at new normal, would be having more family gatherings. I would feel much safer.
People that you know. Yeah.
Yes, and create a circle of friends that you can get together with more than you will normally do before, you know. So you still have that, you're still socializing, but within some confined a bit. You know, when I say confined, I personally would prefer socialize at home or at my friend or family home, because as you said, I'm aware of their environment. I'm aware of their habits. I know that they are responsible people. So I am not visiting feeling anxious. I am really excited to go and sit. So for me, it's going to be having a circle of friends or family members that I know, yes, these are the people I want to invite, and we can have a small gathering or visit their home. Because it's about, I think it's about that control, feeling comfortable and not feeling threatened. That would be my approach to socialize, really.
And I think one of the things that we have to consider, because you know, there's already so much stress in the world, and we don't have to talk about what's causing all the stress. I mean, everywhere you open the papers, you look at TV, you look at YouTube, you understand the stress. And I think people should not create an environment where now, on top of that, we have the fear of COVID that isolates us further.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes, and I know it's easy to say, or bring family together and have a circle of friends, but for a lot of people, there is no family. And there, at least there's no family that you can easily access to socialize and have a barbecue for Father's Day. Or there might not be friends. And I think for those people who live alone, and I think of, there's so many of them are relatives, whether they live abroad or even here in the Caribbean, in Trinidad, more and more people are living on their own, separate from their families. And I think this little box that we're in is a blessing in disguise, because with Google, you can go anywhere in the world. You can travel. You can explore new things. I mean, you type in comedy and you could be rolling and laughing to the best comedians in the world. You could type in, my son helped me download Versus the other day. I'm hip now, Instagram. So
Yes.
I was looking at the Alicia Keys and John Legend battle, and I found myself having a ball. You can go to concerts all over. So using the technology, I think, you know, Jan, we were talking before, and the solution to reducing anxiety is to learn to exhale.
Yes.
Smile, laugh, and
have fun.
Have fun, you know. And if you can't find someone to do it with, the world is at your fingertips. You Google what, if you want to see a comedy show, type in comedy. If you want to hear music from rock to classics to soca to kaiso, type it in, it's there. So, you know, I think we do not need to worry and have a lot of apprehension about having to become cloistered because of the new normal and the fear of COVID.
What I would also suggest in that, for those, as you mentioned, if you have no friends, but you know, I believe loneliness is not a place that people should want to be in, being lonely. you can really take action, you know, Terry.
Alone, not lonely. You could be alone, but not lonely.
Yeah, yeah. So when someone say, oh, they lonely, or they don't have any friends, or they can't, you know, socialize, is what you really want to do with yourself. What will make you happy? And you know, we have so many different ways to form friendship, to through your grouping, and think of your neighbor. You have no real reason to just sit at home
Some
and
people,
be unhappy.
but they don't have to be unhappy. And my point is, even if you have nobody, you can still, with technology, experience music.
I'm agreeing with you on that. I'm agreeing with you on that. You have no need to say you're lonely.
Very happy. Very, very happy.
The other, what I suggest and what I have expanded for me is look at creating a Zen space, a space somewhere. I am not talking, you don't have to have a big house or a large garden or anything like that. Just create a space with something there that will make you happy. You see the back of me here? I have some flowers here. On the other side, Tarian, if you might not see it, I have some candles that make me happy. So when I sit down in a space where I'm surrounded with elements, with things I really enjoy, it brings happiness. I don't need anybody around me. So my suggestion, and for those I'm not, you know, who's listening and our followers there, tell us what really makes you happy. What can you do differently in this new normal to create that little space for you to really relax and enjoy life? And as Tarian said, that same space you can sit in and watch your different programs, laugh out loud, have your glass of wine or your cup of tea, you know, some little chips, something, have your own party.
Yes.
You know, and that is a suggestion. You know, the main thing at this time is for us to relax, as you say, exhale, laugh, unwind, remove the fear of COVID from anywhere in our brains. Know you're doing what you have to do, and that's it. You know, so this is under the social, and you know, we're speaking here about the different social activities that you can do, but Terrian also it touch on the self-care.
And that's a big second area.
Yeah, self-care. Because self-care and looking at your living a healthy lifestyle is one of the key areas too, that you can remove that fear of the COVID. You know, what you're going to be doing is really focusing on, could be eating healthy, making sure you're active, doing different things. So you wouldn't, the chances of you, well, getting just the normal influenza, we're back in the rainy season, huh?
Dang it. If you're in the Caribbean.
It have a list.
Dr. Parashram switched from COVID. He says,
yeah, there's a whole list. But, and before we tend not to pay too much attention, but now we know there are so many, things that we can do. And we have already started actually, you know, in terms of what on Facebook now, I'm still seeing it, all the different healthy menus, you know, and who's doing their garden and can, like myself, you could reap, you know, you produce straight from the garden into your pot. So there's several things that we can do, but actually, and you know, especially now we're talking about the 50 plus, actually doing things differently. There is a more awareness of how you can keep healthy.
Yeah.
You know?
I think one of the biggest things that probably, and again, it's tied into our being confined at home. You know, when it started and people were talking about what you're doing for quarantine and how, the first thing, everybody into the kitchen. And people who don't cook started the baking, the cooking, the inventing recipes. I think Food Network and all those food programs probably had viewership going through the window.
I'm sure.
All the one business that did not suffer during this would have been supermarkets. And you know, Jennifer, we would have chatted. Sometimes people talk about eating healthy and making it a challenge. When the mere act of preparing your own foods can increase the health marker of your food intake by double and quadruple, because we ate so much of prepared foods, eating out, fast foods. And I don't even just look at the franchise fast foods. Most commercial kitchens, to get food tasting good and stretching and lasting, you know, there are certain things, the monosodium glutamate, the red butters, the oils, the salts, the fats, to create flavors. And I wonder, Jennifer, if people, now that they're starting to go out, having come from that time where you were in the house and preparing your foods, when they go and they go lunchtime to get the white Cyrotex container and the plastic bag, and everybody, you have like ants going to the food court for breakfast, you come back with your sandwich and whatever it is. I am wondering if people are realizing that this thing tastes different. And I am hoping that people are saying, you know, I really kind of prefer what I had at home. And, you know, or even if not, recognizing how much money they may have saved by just prepare food at home. Look, let me make my food and bring it. And just that act of preparing your own food, being in charge of the ingredients, that is one huge step to being eating more healthy and boosting the immune system, which is one of your main defenders, to not be in the 2% of COVID that knocks you out, you know? So you're right, that self-care, what you eat, what you ingest, and people just came out a period of having a great time with food.
Terry, I am one of those who, as you know, will buy food. Go out, restaurants, etc. And what you are saying there,
you're very fussy about where you buy your food, eh?
Oh yes, and what I eat, but still, having had to cook and get all these recipes from friends, I actually started enjoying and thought how easy it is to prepare. You know, because I am all again very conscious about building my immune system. Went straight into vegetables that I thought that I would never eat again. No, it is really a whole different now. So before I think of, now that everywhere is open and I think, oh, stop off in restaurants, nah, when I get home, I could just do something within, and definitely within 30 minutes, I am finished. You cut up the vegetables, you do this, and I am done. So yes, I think many people like myself will be, you know, doing that.
The gadgets we want to buy because we want
to. Oh yes, definitely. I wouldn't want to let out my secret before all sell out again. But yes, so those of you out there who are accustomed going to the restaurants or living alone and much prefer buy food, they want to relook at that and think, let me now, to ensure that I'm eating healthy, let me do it myself. You know, so.
Janet, if we think about it, when all the restaurants were closed, you had to prepare meals. And, you know, was it really that hard that you would go back 100% to where you were? Is there any modification? So, all right, so instead of all the meals being prepared because the kids in the house, and oh God, they're eating full 3 sets of cooking every single day. you know, I would really, really hope that even if people say, all right, out of the 7 days of the week, we're going to make sure that we have meals prepared for at least 5, which might require you to cook twice, you know, for the week. Because that I think what we eat is going to make the single largest difference in how able we are in the new normal to resist if we get a hit of the COVID.
Yeah. I know, Terry-Ann, also it will be challenging for those who have to go back out to work because the problem was time.
Yeah.
You know?
I say twice a
So,
week. And you
so
don't,
yes, they have to relook at the way they were doing things before and try now to be a little more organized. I think it's about organization, organizing your time better, and you know, realizing that hey, my priority right now is for health. You know, not just for if you have a family, but for you and your family. You know, so yeah.
but Jen, you know, looking at it a different way, because sometimes we talk so much about health. We are saying that you've got a whole adult life ahead of you, 30 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If now, because we could, and because we don't want to put a little energy into it, we get really, really careless about what we feed ourselves. You know, we would be proactively working to reduce that 30 to probably 10 or 15 years. And it's going to be so much more difficult 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, to reverse bad habits that we may have now, or putting new habits in place that could help ensure we don't end up with because what are the pre-conditions, the pre-existing conditions that, forget COVID, even before.
Yes.
Hypertension, diabetes, stroke, cholesterol, weight control. These are the things that are causing the 5.8G generation to not maximize all of those beautiful years ahead of us, or not being able for your body to take you through. And we can't beat it. We can't do it.
Well, apparently, listening to the reports coming out from Ministry of Health and from the medical practitioners, that during this COVID period, there has been a reduction with certain of the what we call the
non-communicable diseases.
Yeah, there has been a reduction. So you find persons, because they were more conscious of their health, have been able to reduce their hypertension, diabetes. They actually reduce and control a bit more.
Yeah.
And that experience, I believe, they would continue.
Yeah.
I have the faith that they would continue, because we had time to think and take action, and that action resulted in a positive, positive results. That I would like to think we continue along that path. That awareness is very important.
And Jen, you said that just now, and something occurred to me. We are the adults in the room.
Yeah.
And what are the adults supposed to do?
Show example.
Are the adults in the room? We are not the children. We are the adults. So, and we are the ones who understand that sometimes just because it feels that you don't want to do it, sometimes you do what you need to do. So, sometimes we really need to pull up our socks and be the adults. Because if you're in the 5.8G generation, listen, the people who are after you, they're making the swing back,
Yes.
They're making the swing back. So we are truly the adults. So what's the big deal in managing your how you socialize, and taking care of your physical self?
Yeah.
because we talked about food, and the other thing is movement. I don't use exercising because the person who works with me, you know, she said it's about moving, continually moving. Stretch your leg, your arm, your leg, and being conscious. I know, Jan, you do much better than me. Every day you
Yeah, but just as how a lot of us change our mindset with the cooking and eating healthy. And there was so many recipes, and as you said, Food Network must was overwhelmed.
everybody again. Yes.
I would say the same thing happened with the fitness.
Mm-hmm.
You were seeing so many different clips being posted with different ways exercise. I actually have been following online Trinidadian fitness instructor who based in the States, and he had beautiful. Each day was a different thing. One is to music, he had down to limbo, different things. But in addition to that, you had the yoga, all the yoga instructors, free. Everything was just free. But what happened? They all introduced us to different types of exercising. So those who don't want to be jumping all over, you could stretch, you have the stretches, you have, and different ways. The last one I saw with him, he actually dealt with persons 50 plus, and that's what I was calling them seniors, okay?
Yeah.
And he did some really simple. You sitting on the couch and you're watching television, and he show you how you just put a little stool there and you lift your feet up and down. It's just all about movement.
Yeah.
So we can no longer say we don't like to jog, you don't like to walk, you don't like to dance. There was so many different exercise type of, and as you said, not exercise, type of movement.
Yes,
that we can do, and not complain that, okay, we have arthritis, you cannot do that. They covered all different types.
Yeah, movement arthritis. Because it's the same thing, Jennifer, as with the food. We come off of the second act and we're busy, we running, dropping children, running in the office, running here, running there. And then we just sit down and we sit down in front of the TV. And if we take the first 5 years sitting down, and at the 6th year you try to get up, you know everything lock up. With the arthritis was there, it's there. But if you continue moving, dancing, walking, just stretching, reaching up for something, just keep your body moving, lubricated, let the joints be lubricated. It's not hard to make sure that this body continues to take us right away down. And God forbid that something, you cut something, be in the 98%. Don't be in that 2%. Especially the 1% of the 2% who end up on the ventilator. You know?
And those who had taken up gardening during a period and continued, gardening also is such a good form of exercise. You know, something you enjoy doing, and you know, it have you moving all the time, bending and pulling, and you know.
Oh gosh, every fans out there, I visited Jennifer's garden the other day. Oh Lord, Jennifer has a green thumb.
I am enjoying. I'm really enjoying. I just sent for some seeds, some new ones. You know, I said, let me try some new things. But it's something I enjoy, and you keep moving. You know, so yeah. So for those who continue, my thing is could continue whatever you were doing. If you have to go back out to work, you may not be able to do the gardening whole day, but you do a bit early, and you know, just a little bit every day. You still do something, you know.
I think on the self-care, when we have stuff to do, whether it is, oh, let's look for a new recipe, or we're going out and we're taking a walk to a different area, or we're doing a different type of exercise, or we find a different muscle to move. All of that keeps the brain going. It contributes to, again, you're looking down the road, reduced brain capacity, all those things. You know, so the COVID was a blessing in that people really stood up and took note of, hey, where am I? What's my position? let me see where I am. And now that everything is opening up, I don't think there's need for retreat. I think we can
No,
go forward.
it's definitely to move forward.
Yeah.
You know?
And
And be creative. We can be creative in so many ways.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Do different things. And what the other bucket, as we said, what we focus on is the economic bucket.
The money.
And that I know it is very, very utmost in nearly everybody's mind. The business people, the employees, the entrepreneurs, the family, whoever's taking care of the family in the home, everyone concerned about that monetary. I mean, we were very concerned before.
Everyone's concerned. The hustle is concerned because
so that is real. That is real. So, you know, it's going back to the new normal. That is the other area, Terrian, that people have to learn to. You need an adjustment. It calls for serious adjustment to relook at your financial situation. And really, you know, before you say look at needs and wants, but we will just talk it, but not really pay much attention. This time calls for that, definitely. Needs and wants. I know the wants now going to be that list going to be very short. The needs also will have to be shortened, right? So you have to start putting things in order of priority. See, when you put needs, what you really need. Do I really need that? And you start to cross out. Because, Terrian, in spite of not maybe, in some cases I have seen where salaries have been reduced, we have those who have lost their jobs, etc. But you have to start thinking differently now. How do you find some of the sources of income? Where is that income coming from? If not from salary, if not from profits, if not from the selling of something that you have to bring in money. We have to really sit down, look at the situation now, and start focusing on I don't even want to say survival mode, because not just survival, because you're not surviving, you want to continue with your goals. You want to continue with your goals. So it's not survival, but setting a new path, new methods, new strategies to achieve the goals that you wanted to achieve before.
Yeah, it's living, you know, and it's like, I suppose in every context you look and see, because you have people at different sides of the spectrum. You have people who would have lost jobs, business closed. There are some businesses that close and not reopening. So there's unemployment with no package or anything. So it's closed and you are left to look for another job or find some dollars. Those decisions are drastic decisions. Life, the way you live is going to be different. Children, you have to explain to children why we can't have the Subway and the KFC and we can't go to the Five Islands or cinema or wherever you went to. And I think for those parents, one of the things that we spoke about in one of our past shows, Jen, is the conversations. Get back to sitting and talking with your family and being very open about what's the situation and what you can and can't do. Because I think half of the stress, if you really are now in a place where the job is gone, or I've been cut half pay, or one income earner is out, or God forbid, you were the victim of and you lost someone to COVID or something like that. I think a lot of stress comes from trying to maintain the old normal and putting pressure on yourself. and not sitting down and letting everybody in the household understand and make contributions to. Children could come up with very, very innovative ideas about how they could adjust and manage. And I think sometimes we get in our heads that we have a responsibility to maintain that old status quo that just can't happen. And that gives a lot of pressure, you know?
I agree, Terry, and at 50 plus, it's really a different time of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So for those at this age group who may have been forced to retire
Yeah.
before that age, because with companies downsizing, they tend to look at those who at the older ages that say, okay, it's time you may go earlier. For those who may not be retiring, and as you said, companies downsizing, closing down, etc. It is really a different time, and a lot of us at this stage too. We have it could be as old as they are, our children, despite their age, still looking up to us for help, because they also going through their financial struggles. So I agree, and I always advocate for that, having that conversation with whoever in the household or whoever dependent on you, or you dependent on to her, because it could be you at that stage where they dependent on help.
Yeah, and
so the conversation is important to decide, listen, how are we moving forward? And not to panic, but to find solutions. And part of the solution would be, let's look and see where else that money what can we do to bring in that extra income?
Or reduce our expenses.
Or reduce the expenses, of course.
Yeah.
So that conversation is very, very critical to move forward and to keep your vision there, to see that, yes, we are still moving forward to achieve our goals. It may not be in the time frame. Again, you may have to extend the time frame, or just look at a different strategy to achieve.
But Jan, I wonder sometimes, and this is something, listeners, really, put your comments inside of there. How many households, families, groups of friends, neighborhoods, church groups, service groups have sat down and asked your fellow members, how has this last 3 months impacted you? Because it was March, middle March, April, May, June,
Yeah.
4 months. No, 4 months, almost 4 months. How has it impacted you? And that conversation could probably lead us to some very, very innovative, different experiences. People might discover so many ways that they could collaborate. They could work together at different things. I always look for community pot, community garden, community this. Potluck is my middle name.
Yeah.
And it really is something. Let's do that. Let's sit the kids down. They're out of school. They're out of school for so long. How have you managed not spending so much money? Because you don't have to go to school. You didn't have to travel. You didn't have to buy lunch. You didn't have to do all those things. For the adults in the home, you had more time you didn't have to stay 2 hours in traffic. You didn't have to stand up in the road waiting for the maxi. And, how can you, even if you have to now get back into that grind, how can you recreate that mode of make do, be more efficient, waste less? How can you recreate it and still have fun? You know, because some people continued with their salary and they had less expenses. Yes, there's some who lost it, but how can you maintain, what do you want to keep from the COVID period? You know, what habit you want to keep? I think that's an interesting conversation, don't you, Jen?
Yes, as you were speaking about that, what came to me though is how can you get your momentum going? How can you get that momentum going? What do you have to do? So in addition to what you have just said, I would add on to it. What do you have to do to get your momentum going? Because you need to get that going.
Yeah, yeah.
So that will be the discussion. Clearing your mind, being positive, and just get going on that.
Jen, we have about 10 more minutes. Would you believe? And we met some amazing people last weekend. We met some amazing people last weekend when we had our Prime Time is Now workshop, you know, and one of the things that I realized that really, I mean, we had such tremendous fun.
Yeah. People
have in them all kinds of fantastic ideas, talent. I'm not even saying dreams. I'm not even going to dreams. Yeah. They have ideas and plans and things that they want to do, and they're just waiting to do. And all they're waiting on is for someone to either ask them to or give them permission to. And all kinds of energy being unleashed. And I want to say 5.8G. The person who gives you permission to have a great time is you. Jen, what do you think about that?
Terry-Ann, at this stage in life, and we keep repeating this, because we have been given and given and given, family first, everybody first. You came from a workplace that you're giving all of your time. So your company first, you know, the group first. So when you come off of that stage, and even when you enter and you're on that third stage, you don't know how. You just don't know how. You're just moving along, again, continuing to give. And when you offer this space, as we have done, for you to come into a safe space with others and really express yourself, and with, of course, the methods that we use that allows you to be authentic. And in thinking, then you say, you know what? I always wanted to write a book, or always wanted to dance. You know, I always wanted to travel to a certain country. So all these dreams that you had hidden, that you didn't discuss before, for fear of someone saying, or for fear, and someone said it actually in the discussion, for fear of being deemed being selfish. They don't want to be seen as selfish, you know, and so they lack that self-confidence. Mm-hmm. So within the programs that run, within for the prime time, and of course with the reset, it allows people to really feel comfortable to express what they really want for themselves. When they ask the question, how do you see yourself at 70 or at 80? They go blank because they never allow themselves to reach so far. They live for the moment, what is happening around them, or what they are required to do at that stage. And required by who? Required by the people around them. Mm-hmm. They feel this is what they have to do because they're expected to you know, act in a certain way. So yes, for me, again, it is an experience where I'm saying, yes, we are on the right track.
Yeah.
You know, we are really helping, and this is what we're there for, supporting, partnering with our friends, because, you know, after all these programs, we all become, I mean, great friends. And it's really always a feeling of satisfaction, knowing that you can make that difference and help people follow their dreams,
Yeah.
you know, have their goals, achieve the goals that they wanted to achieve, you know.
And Jen, you know, one of the things that's again, when we look at the gender dynamic, and it's always there, and we love it when we have to interact with our men, and we love it when we interact with our women, and it's nice sometimes when they have the men by themselves, and it's nice sometimes when they have the women by themselves. But one of the things that I've found over the series of discussions is a similarity in how we in this generation put ourselves under pressure. Because in speaking to some of the men, they have such a weight of responsibility.
Yes.
And they have, through the years of sacrifice, keep quiet. Just go outside and sit down and, all right, avoid the row with the wife. Or let the mother talk. And there is so much suppression of your own passions, your own, what you really want to do. And again, there is that, I just, that burst of energy when they realize I can give myself permission now that the children take care of, the job is finished, everybody good. I can give myself permission now to do the stuff that I like. Now, that's a process that's easier for the men to just say, all right, me now. But, you know, with the woman, we are so accustomed, as you said, in service of others, the children, and everyone. And I want to talk to people who, you have your mom, your grandmom, your auntie, whoever. If you're in a family and there is that senior person, whether it's matriarch or patriarch, I want us to reflect and think, when last have you asked that person, what do you want? What would make you, what would you like to do this weekend or this week? As opposed to having life go by and not recognizing how much that person is doing for you, and doing things that, by the way, you could do for yourself, huh? Whether it is cook, clean, wash, sort out, take care of the children, take care of the parents, or whatever it is. I really want us to check ourselves and probably look at that matriarch or look at that patriarch figure. Ask them what they would like to do if they had a week off, and do your best and give them a week off. Carry them shopping for new shoes. Carry them for dinner. Let them go and visit some old friend that they haven't seen for a long time and go cinema. You know, that I think yes, we need to give ourselves permission, but I think through this medium, we can speak to some of the beneficiaries of those matriarchs and patriarchs, and I'll ask on their behalf, take a pause, and go ask them what they want and give them a week off now. You know. So that's my plug for them.
Where I would want to, what I want to add here, though, Terrian, those that don't have the responsibility in that way should take the same advice for themselves.
Yeah.
Understand? Those that are home right now, they are actually, they are the matriarchs there. Ask yourself, what would make me up? What can I do to prevent myself from being miserable or being seen as a bother? You know? And yes, and take the same action on that. Tarian, I want to, before we close, just mention in men, you mentioned in men, that what we found, yes, the men who registered for the program, but at the end, the women are the ones who came out. The women are the one who decided to finalize. I spoke to about 3 of the men who actually registered, and their thing is, okay, next time. And I just say, okay, next time. And how I interpreted that next time was they prefer when it's more men involved. And I want to say, yes, I listened, I interpreted it. And we are having a special prime time for men only. We also learned from our last group that it is best for us to stick to the small numbers, intimate groups, so we can really interact and allow you to be free, to relax and speak openly about what you really want to do, what may be your challenges, your experiences, etc. So we have decided, and we have that planned for next month, to have prime time for men. Small group, only groups of 5. So if we have many, if we have 15 men registering, we're going to divide it into groups of 3, have 3 groups. So all you men listening to us, we're going to be sending out that ad for the primetime men, or you can, in the interim, you can call us, send us a line, put a note there on the Facebook page or later on the YouTube. Let us know and we will contact you with further details. Okay, so that's for all men, Caribbean men. So we're not just talking Trinidad and Tobago, Caribbean men we are speaking to.
Yes.
All right? Yes.
Okay, Jennifer. This was a nice, relaxed. I think this new normal is not phasing me. Yes. I am doing what I have to do to make sure that my body is working and I can move. I am doing as much as I can in terms of controlling what I eat, or if I can't control it, I want to know who's cooking it and what they're doing. Of course, I'm going to break the rules and do nonsense every now and again, but we get there. But my thing is that I am not going to be part of the 2% that will cut short my minimum 30 years of my 5.8G, because I intend to get to the 4th stage. This is just the 3rd. So
this is no time to give up. This is time for movement.
Not afraid. I am fine. Life will be good. And I think with all the programs that we have and the plans that we have, you are over 3,000 followers on Facebook and growing on YouTube, and we haven't yet scratched the surface with the Caribbean. Definitely, we are going to make a big, big difference. The millennials can have the 2nd act stage. The 3rd act is so much more fun.
Thank you. We are being very, very creative with this new normal. Yes. Very creative. We have so many new programs coming out. So we have the surprise for you, Tarian, next month. We have a nice new program for you to keep you moving and to keep you enjoying this 3rd stage. So this is time we say bye, Tarian.
Yes, it is. Yes. This was so sweet, so really nice. And again, this is, I just can't think of doing anything else with my life right now than running CONEC-TIONS 50 plus and getting all the 5.8G involved and all kinds of stuff.
The connection is great. Your connection is always great.
Yes, it is.
So we say bye for now.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye. Take care.